There are some dementia residents living in dementia facilities who deny that they have dementia and will say, "What? I don't have dementia. There's nothing wrong with my memory." And if it's suggested to them that they can't find where their room is and that they've lived here for a year, they'll deny the fact that finding their room is anything more than just old age. People forget when you get old. It doesn't mean you've got dementia. So it can actually be quite difficult for a person with dementia to accept they've got dementia, even though they're in a dementia unit, unless their friends and other people in their group start admitting that they've got dementia and saying honestly that yes, they have dementia and memory loss problems. That is really the way that often brings these people around, so that if they can see that their good friend is saying that they have dementia and other friends are saying that they have dementia, then they start to question it and as to whether maybe they've got dementia themselves. And when it's discussed in the group, for example, at the workshops, about how everyone lives here and how everyone has their own room here at the dementia unit, and some of the residents may well say, "Do I live here? I didn't know I lived here. I don't live here." And then it's discussed and explained that their room is whatever room number it is and where that room is, taking them to their room so that they can recognise where they're living, orientate them to that. Slowly but surely, as this discussion of room identification and room placement comes about, and for all the residents in the group to realise that they all live there, then they start to query, well, where is my room? And when they realise that they can't remember where it is, even though they live here, these aspects start to affirm to them that they have a memory problem, a bit more than just old age, but actually dementia. It takes a number of signposts to be lit up for people denying that they have dementia to accept it. There was one example of this at a dementia facility that I worked in, where a very astute woman, she was very good in her conversation, good word skill, good vocab. She could do quizzes like anything, could never remember where her room was. And it did take her some time to accept that she had dementia, because she could do quizzes, she could communicate, and she could think well. So therefore, what's wrong with me? You know, I can think, I can communicate, I can do quizzes. What's wrong with my memory? Well, it was direction orientation that was the problem. And in the workshop, her friend would say, "Well, I sometimes show you where to go to your room." She didn't like that, this woman. You do not. She didn't like being shown up in the group that she was disorientated or that she had a memory problem, because she took pride in the fact that she could do the quizzes and do the word games and communicate well and read well. So understandably, in a way, she didn't see that she had a problem, except that she couldn't find her room. And indeed, that was the reason why she was at the dementia unit, because of a lack of orientation. And her friend, her good friend who lived next door, had quite good orientation and certainly knew where her room was. So because they were neighbours, when her friend was walking up the corridor, she'd direct her to her room as well, which was a great help for this lady. So this particular lady, on one particular afternoon, Friday afternoon, I decided to have a workshop for the group. I was activities coordinator at the time and decided to have a workshop for the group for the new male residents coming in. There were 3 male residents coming into the unit, which was unusual, because usually it's women in dementia facilities, most of them being women in their mid-80s with Alzheimer's. But on this occasion, there were 3 men. So I said to the group, would they like to have a workshop where these 3 men could be introduced and everyone could get to know them? And they were very keen on that. And I felt that it was important that they were introduced by a dementia resident, not me. And this woman was confident enough to say that she could do it, which she actually did really well. Anyway, the first man that was introduced to the group he was a nice man, quiet, reserved, a former businessman, and his son was in big denial about his father having dementia. Somehow his father had got diagnosed with dementia, gone through the system, was in the dementia unit, and then the son at the desk was saying that he wanted to get his father out of the dementia unit, that this wasn't the place for him. I think he had some stigma and prejudice into the bargain. And so, of course, the father felt he should go along with this and resisting that he was there. Actually, in the end, that son did manage to get that father out of the dementia unit. I don't know how he did that, because once you're diagnosed with dementia, it's very difficult to undiagnose it. But anyway, this man only stayed a short time. But when he was in the workshop with this woman, this astute woman that was introducing him, he explained his background and about his family and his business, and she was asking him all these questions. She did really well. It was about 15-minute introduction, and halfway through he admitted and said, well, I have a memory problem. He said this to the group, even though the son had denied it, and he had denied it himself when he was with the son. But with the group, he said, I have a memory problem. He had the humility to say that. And with that, the woman who had been denying she had dementia all the way said, yes, I do too, dear. We all have a memory problem here. So that just shows that if it comes from someone who has that same problem and they've admitted it, then others are more likely to admit it. Whereas there's resistance outside the core group of people that have dementia, because stigma and prejudice is so much part of the equation with dementia that people don't want to admit they've got it. They're used to and can remember. Many dementia residents can remember the stigma and prejudice that they've been subjected to, sometimes saying, or often saying, in fact, that their relatives even don't listen to them or don't understand them, or don't ask them questions or ask for their opinion, and that they're shut down often. And so what they often do is they don't converse or make the effort to communicate with their friends, family, or other people, because they feel that they might be shut down or shut off when they do make an effort to communicate, which is sad because their opinion then isn't taken into consideration. But the other unfortunate side effect of that is that if people with dementia don't make the effort to communicate, then like any skill, it can get lost quite quickly, and they can lose their vocabulary, word usage, and then the confidence to communicate goes, and it can be quite difficult to build back up. So once accepting that dementia residents have dementia, once they accept this amongst themselves, that they have memory loss, that they have direction orientation loss, that they have dementia blanks, then they can support each other. They can direct each other to their room if they have direction orientation. They can support each other if they go through dementia blanks. They know the support they need with the direction orientation because of that. And if they have memory loss on whatever aspect it is, they can fill in for others if they're astute enough at the time to remember themselves. And if not, staff or someone else will help out. So there's no embarrassment in a dementia unit with memory loss. And the more that it's accepted really and understood, especially amongst each other, amongst the residents in a dementia facility, the more they can support and accept each other, support each other, and have a better quality of life. So I've written these two books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, on Amazon, on my website, pietavalentine.com, soft copy, hard copy, and ebook. So all the techniques that are there, it's good reading and essential reading if you really are having problems with your family member in a dementia facility. There's a lot more detail in terms of all these aspects that needs to be known if there's distressing behaviour with your family member. If they're happy and settled, it's not quite as difficult. So thank you for your looks and your subscriptions, and please subscribe. Thank you.